Hello everyone, let's dive into the init block in Kotlin. So let's say if we have a home view model, in this we have two methods, fetch users and fetch books. So let's consider that these are the methods which are fetching users from the network. So right now we are just only showing the logs here, but consider this is the functionality of these methods. And if we want to call this method during the object creation, then in Kotlin we cannot have runnable code in our primary constructor. So to call this method during object creation, we use init block. Init block is called during the execution of during the instantiation of the object. This is executed right after the primary constructor. So let's verify from the logs that they are executed as expected. Okay, so these are executed as expected. Now the second point is, in Kotlin a class can have multiple init blocks. Let's say we can have two init block here. So the execution sequence will be the same as the sequence in which we have defined here. So let's say we have a first init block and second init block, and if we run this, then we will see init 1 and init 2 in our logs in the same sequence which we have defined. And the third point is, if we have any constructor parameter, let's say we have message in our constructor parameter, then we can access that constructor parameter in our init block. Let's say we can print that in our logs, this message, and we also need to pass this during object creation in the constructor parameters. Hello there. So as we can access the constructor parameters in our init block. Another point is, if we have secondary constructor in our class, then the execution of secondary constructor will be happen after the init blocks. Let's say we have secondary constructor here which take message and user ID as parameter, and we will pass this message to the second primary constructor, and in here we will show a log that secondary constructor, and in here we will call this secondary constructor by passing the user ID 23. And now these init blocks will be called executed first, then after that this secondary constructor will be called. So let's verify after execution. So this is the behavior which we have with the init block.